Christmas. How did that happen? Really? Can we be at this time of year when we're thinking about making Christmas arrangements? Well, I'm delighted to share a really quick and simple idea with all my friends over in the northwest area of NAFAS for making a table centre. Using this pottery container, a favourite container, into which I've just popped some chicken wire in here. Later I would put water in here, but I can't do that if it's got water in. And I'm going to arrange some evergreens just down through the centre of here. Yeah, I don't know where this year's gone, folks. I don't know about anybody else. It's absolutely flown by, even though we've probably all endured one of the most difficult years of our lives. It's been a challenging time, hasn't it? But hey, you know, Christmas, it's a positive, it's an upbeat thing, and I think we're all going to pull out the stops and make this year's Christmas even more magical. I know I certainly want to do that. And possibly for many of us, we're going to have the first time ever to have the luxury of time to make it as special as it physically can be, given whatever restrictions and conditions we are having to live our lives by. Oh, the smell of this eucalyptus, absolutely adorable fragrance. I've chopped this down from the tree in the garden because it's become quite big and boisterous this year, because my garden, like many of my fellow demonstrators, will have grown much more luxuriantly and lushly than it ever normally does, because usually we're cutting things for shows and demonstrations and competitions and classes and workshops on a weekly basis. But this year, of course, that hasn't happened, and I've generally been cutting pretty much just for myself and for photographic work, for media related things, so not in the quantities that I would normally be gathering. In amongst the eucalyptus, another festive favourite of mine, the Taxus baccata, the good old needle green yew. The little red berries on here have been prolific this season, and they've been munched rapaciously by the resident robin that lives and patrols and dominates the other birds in the garden. So yeah, the yew, it's a great source of food, isn't it, for the birds. The berries, paradoxically, are poisonous to us, but good for nature, good for the wildlife. So strange that, isn't it, how that happens? So quite amazing really that we're thinking evergreens, because it's been a year where I've been really in touch with the seasons and looking at the seasons and following nature, you know, waiting for the bluebells to come out, watching the cowslips, the wood anemones, and then moving on to the summer with all the fantastic flowers like the dog roses out there. And it's been a great year, hasn't it, in the countryside. It has been almost like nature's had a chance to revitalise itself, re-energise itself, and come back stronger. So there has been some positives, hasn't there? Not so many positives, but definitely a few positives out there. So up to now we've got two different varieties of silver greens in there with the Senecio and the eucalyptus, and then that dark green needle-like branch of the yew. I'm going to liven it up, I'm going to warm it up by pulling through the terracotta colour of the container with some Cotoneaster berries. Always a firm favourite of mine in the garden, because they do seem to last relatively well, and the birds don't munch these quite so quickly, so they are around for longer than most of the other berries that are on the plants and on the shrubs. Another great one is the herringbone Cotoneaster, or Cotoneaster horizontalis, which clings, doesn't it, to walls. It's a very structured type of plant material, but one that I'm always quite mesmerised by its abundance of tiny little jewel red berries. And if any of my fellow flower arranging friends grow this, which I know many people will do in their gardens, the minute the little buds open out into the tiny little nondescript flowers, it's a myriad of bees and pollinators. They spend forever buzzing around here, and you can almost sit quietly and just listen and focus on that very reassuring sound of the hum of the bees, just doing what the bee should do and gathering all that amazing pollen and nectar from the Cotoneaster there. So just show it's looking pretty much the same from both sides, which is really what I'm intending it to do, but just show you how we're looking there, and just keeping it very sort of natural with those adorable evergreens on there, which I'm loving. I don't know about anybody else. I think they're such exciting pieces of plant material. But let's liven it up. Let's add some other glorious gems into here. And I wanted to bring through some roses. And this is one of my favourite roses, folks, at the moment. Isn't it adorable? This is Rosa Camouflage. And it's a very subtle tinge of green running through these very sort of sludgy, diluted petals. And lots of our roses at the moment have become very mutated, haven't they, in their colour scheme, and almost sort of vintage, unashamedly, with that sort of sepia tinge going on there. And camouflage is sort of a greeny version of that. Buying flowers has not been easy, has it? And certainly during lockdown it was very difficult. I've been doing lots of consultancy work still with our British flower growers and promoting our British flower growers, for which many of you know I'm a passionate ambassador for doing. And the British growers, they only sort of shut down for about 2 weeks and then resumed production very, very quickly to ensure flowers were getting out there to supermarkets, to the relay services, and some of the larger florists, or the wholesalers who were opening up to supply the florists. And many florists, of course, were working behind closed doors, which was acceptable for them to do so. And it did mean that British flowers did play a crucial part in the lockdown period. So yeah, please keep buying our British flowers and supporting our British growers as much as you possibly feel you can. Well, for my own personal lockdown, how's it been? Well, it's been like, for many people, professionally, on a business level, it's been an absolute nightmare because everything dried up. I saw my diary virtually just empty out in a week's time throughout March, and all the shows, all the big events, all the corporate work, pretty much all the teaching, all the classes, all the workshops, all the stuff in the hotels that I do, it just sort of went, really. And it was like, okay, well, we can see that sort of coming back, buzzing back to us around June time. Then, of course, June started to cancel, then throughout the summer months, then into the autumn months. And here we are, celebrating Christmas now. So, you know what, folks? I've called this my enforced gap year. I always wanted a gap year and felt a bit sort of hard done to that I'd missed a gap year. So this has been my gardening gap year. And I've been able to keep my own sort of creativity and my own sort of self upbeat by the garden. I'm looking out there at my garden now as I'm presenting this to all of you. And the garden has just been my salvation. Without that, I think I would have been absolutely beside myself with woe and feeling most dejected. And my heart goes out to anybody who didn't have outdoor space to keep focused on and to celebrate during that challenging sort of initial lockdown period. Well, a few rose hips going into here now, and I've just added in some large, big, buoyant poppies, and the heads on those poppies, absolutely huge things. I'm a great believer in, if you're having one, have a big one, and these are certainly socking it to me. They're a poppy with attitude of the first degree. So a design like this, which I might be inspiring some of my Northwest and fellow flower arranging friends who are going to watch this amazing video that the area is going to put out, it might, give you inspiration for arranging foam-free this Christmas, and to try and do wreaths and garlands and table arrangements that are not reliant upon foam going into there to dress the design, because you don't really need it. There's so many ways we can manage without it. I'm just going to pop in a few sort of festive features here, and these are some lotus seed heads, so just a few lotus seed heads going in there, just tucking those in. And I'm just about there then with this arrangement. We're very nearly there. And it's been great just giving a few moments of my day here to share some festive creativity with you all, to chat. I think that's what we've missed. It's that ability to talk, to communicate, to get together with like-minded, passionate flower people. And my own passion is here for my flowers. It's here for all my friends during the lockdown period. And here's my Christmas table arrangement that I'm delighted to present to all the Northwest members. Have a lovely Christmas. Take care, everybody. Enjoy the flowers.